So, okay. I've also had some other weird experiences as well. When I was a kid, so I'm talking like 4th grade. So I'm like 9 years old. I'm in 4th grade and I've got my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Zubizarreta. I think was her name. Mrs. Zubizarreta. Might have been Bradshaw. I don't remember anymore which of my teachers. But anyway, back in the day when I was 9, I had this toy that was like a sheath that you would wear, and it had a fake hand at the end of it that looked like the Terminator hand. And you had these little levers inside that you would pull, and it would, it would make the fingers move, so you could use it to like pick up stuff. It was a stupid little toy, but I was 9 years old, so to me it was like the coolest thing in the world. Well, back then, we had show and tell. I don't know if anyone watching this has ever had show and tell, if you're even old enough to do that, if that's even something they do anymore, I don't even know. Maybe show and tell is all about, show and tell your genitals, because maybe that's all they do in school anymore. I don't know. It's so weird these days. But anyway, I brought that thing for show and tell because I thought it was so cool. And I can't remember if it was before or after show and tell, but it doesn't matter. I was in the playground, and the kids were like, a lot of the other kids thought it was so cool and they wanted to play with it and stuff. And so another teacher, not my teacher, but another one came up to see what the fuss was all about. And so I was showing her like, yeah, I brought this for show and tell. And then I told her, hey, you want to see something cool? Pull the first one and then the outside one and see what it does. And she didn't put it together right away. So she started to pull the two levers, and then she realized instantly what it was doing, and she pretended to laugh. But then she took it away from me. And, she told my teacher, which was Mrs. Bradshaw or Zubizarreta or whoever, and then my teacher. And I think I was pissed actually because I did not get to show it in show and tell. And so I was pissed. I was pissed off. And so we're back in class, and I had this friend of mine at the time who was like a total troublemaker. It got me into so much trouble, and I can tell a lot of stories about that. His name was Josh LeBeau. My parents called him Eddie Haskell, which is a reference I bet nobody watching this show has any idea about. To be frank, I don't know either. I never saw the show, but I knew that it was a character on an old-timey TV show that basically would smile and say, yes, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, to the parents, but then behind the backs of the parents would just get into all kinds of crazy trouble and, Eddie Haskell. So my parents call him Eddie Haskell. Anyway, so Josh LeBeau and we sat like several seats away from each other in a row, and so we would pass notes back and forth all the time during class. And several of the students in between were in on it, and they'd pass the notes for us. And so I wrote this one note where I was like, there were several notes going back and forth because, the students would always wait for a moment to pass so that they didn't get caught by the teacher. And one note I wrote on there, like, I can't believe the teacher stole my Terminator arm. And then on another note I wrote, that stole my arm. I'm so pissed, or whatever. But I dropped like the F-bomb and like that. I'm pretty sure I wrote like that. And so we're passing the notes back in class, and then unbeknownst to us, there was a kid in the middle of the passing corridor who was reading our notes. And I didn't know it, and I'm not sure if Josh knew it either, but he read the note that said that. And in the middle of class, in the middle of a lecture from the teacher, whatever she was saying or doing, this kid just stood up and was like, Mrs. Zubizarreta, Caitlin and Josh are writing notes about you, and they said something really, really, really nasty about you. And she was like, what? Give me that. And so so we had this folding technique for the notes. We folded them in a very specific way. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they were super compact, and they were small, and you could hold them in your hand really, really discreetly. And so I don't know how or why, but when the notes were passed up to the teacher, they were still kind of folded up in that way, so you couldn't see what it said. And she didn't read them at the time. She just grabbed the notes and set them next to her, and then she finished doing the whatever lecture it was, or instructions it was for the assignment we were working on, and she just set them there on the table in the front. And then she got done with that, and she assigned us all to do something. And then so she went back to the back of the room with where the back desk was, and left the notes in the front. And I, of course, was sweating bullets, getting in trouble was like the worst thing in the world for me because my dad was an educator and a principal. So just getting in trouble like that would just be the end of the world for a 9-year-old like me at the time. And so there's a break and all the kids are just, working on the thing and they're all talking with each other or they're talking in pairs or whatever it was. I don't even remember. But I am thinking to myself, I have got to get those notes and destroy them. And I just so happened to sit at the end of the row where there's an aisle in the middle that goes up to the front of the room. And I think I'm like 3 rows back. I think I'm in the 3rd row back, but I'm on the edge right against that aisle. And so I look around, teacher's in the back at the back desk, and she's focused on something, looking down at the desk. And all the students are, just talking amongst each other. And so I just really quick lunge forward as far as I can in one step. I grab a note, not both, just one, and I sit back down at my desk as fast as I can. Nobody says anything. Nobody says a word. There's like 30 kids, 28, 30, 32 kids in this room, and a teacher in the back. And nobody saw me do that. Or if they did, they didn't say shit. And so I've got this note, and I just hide it in my desk. I don't look at it. I don't know which note it is. And I'm just hoping to God I don't get in trouble. And I hope I got the right one. And so the teacher then later comes back to the front of the class, and then she asks the students, hey, where'd the other note go? Weren't there 2 notes? And, everyone's looking around. I'm looking around pretending like I don't know what's going on. And, everybody's like, I don't know where it went. And so she then decides, okay, well, now it's time to deal with the notes. So, hey, Kaylin, I want you to come back to the back desk with me. She grabs the remaining note at the front, walks back. She reads the note. And as she was reading it, I'm thinking, oh, God, this is it. This is it. She reads it. She goes, reads it. And then she folds it back up. And she goes, okay, well, listen, it's not a big deal. I'm going to have to let your parents know that you're passing notes in class with Josh LeBeau. But, there's no further punishment other than that. Or whatever the hell she said. I don't remember. I was 9. And then later, so I was like, wait a minute. Which note did she read? So later I go back and I think I let, when I left school, I had that note with me, took it with me. And at some point opened it up and read it. And it was the one that had the F-bomb and the B-bomb. I just so happened to grab that note. And I just so happened to grab a note and nobody freaking saw me or nobody ratted me out, which I find hard to believe that nobody in 9th or in 3rd grade, 4th grade, in 4th grade would rat you out if they saw that. I'm pretty sure if they saw that, they would rat you out. So how in the world, in the middle of a classroom full of at least 30 other kids who are all looking around randomly, didn't see me lunge forward, grab a note, and sit back down at my desk? Crazy. I don't know. Either I got some kind of an angel or that was just absolutely some kind of random miraculous luck. Anyway, so that was one of my funny stories.